Welcome to RealityCon 2, the Reality Revolution. We are back once again, and I am so excited to introduce you to Brian Larson. I am honored on every one of my episodes to play Brian's beautiful music. I really believe he's a genius and one of the most amazing musicians, and his music just changes my life. It lifts me up. It changes how I feel in every case. It's added so many layers to the episodes, and he was so kind to let me play his music. I've gotten the opportunity to talk with Brian on many occasions about a variety of things, and even though he's just has a channel where he's playing mostly music, Brian's a genius, and he has extensive knowledge of frequency. And when let's refer back on our first day for the people that didn't make it on the first day, we expanded on the idea of the new earth, understanding how everything is a field, and that essentially we're unifying into a unified field, a toroidal field. And one of the aspects of this field, now that we have entered into the social memory complex, is frequency. And I wanted to talk about and dedicate some time to frequency, but you know what? I don't have as much knowledge as Brian does. Brian uses frequency in his music, and he has some interesting knowledge and information about the power of frequency. So I brought Brian. Brian was nice enough to come on, and he's going to talk about frequency and how we can use it, and what ways and how it affects you. And so welcome Brian Larson to RealityCon 2.
Hey guys, it's good to see you guys. Here, let me get things all set up here. So, so I am Brian, Metaverse guy, and I put together some science. What I want to do is touch on both the science and the heart of a frequency, because the one thing in this world of YouTube meditation music, I know there's a lot of focus on specific frequencies and what they do, and so I've been getting into researching some of the science behind them. I want to focus mostly on 432 and just heart resonance, and how resonant frequencies and heart resonance are one and the same. So I have some slides here.
You just got to hit share screen, and then I had to figure out how to do it myself.
Oh, let's see. Okay, share screen. Oh my gosh, my desktop is so messy. All right, here we go. Okay, so here we go. You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So a lot of you probably have already read this quote by Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Tesla understood this. He understood that all things are frequency, all things are resonating and vibrating. But he also said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you have to understand 3, 6, and 9 also. And I'm going to get into that also, which is really interesting. Open up the file here. Oh. There is just so much information when you really get into it, and it's surprising, like the mathematics of 432, the mathematics of some of these other tuning methods, and just the things you find. It's just really astounding. So the next slide, there we go. Okay, so here's a screen with some cymatic patterns and flowers and patterned algorithms based on 3, 6, and 9. So you can see a lot of similarity on the left-hand side of the screen. I don't know if I have a cursor up here, but basically cymatics is the science of studying how sound affects a specific medium. And if you look at the very bottom middle pattern, that would be a cymatic pattern, which looks a lot like a sunflower. And when you go on the top right, you'll see this turtle here. On the left part is the turtle itself. On the right are cymatic patterns at specific frequencies. So you see how that matches the shell. If you look at the pattern of a cheetah's spots, that can be matched with a cymatic pattern. It's pretty amazing. It's really amazing. So that's kind of the visual cue on how, we're basically forms of frequency. Maybe we're more solid frequency as I see it. And I threw in at the very bottom right something by Dr. Emoto, who, if you haven't heard about him, he applied intentions towards water and froze the droplets with the specific intentions. I think it was a specific amount of time focused on an intention into a glass of water or music. So you'll see, all these different patterns. But what's interesting is at the very bottom, the one that's a little more negative, how discordant, how chaotic it is, and how the positive intentions. I love Imagine by John Lennon, the pattern of that, which, by the way, John Lennon tuned Imagine to 528. And if you listen to his song and then play on a 528 frequency, it'll line right up. It's pretty amazing. So here is something really cool. So we're accustomed to having our tuning method. Our tuning is at A440, which is the standard tuning, and there's a huge movement of people who are pushing for new standard of tuning 432 hertz because just mathematically, and there's so many reasons why it's just so much more natural. Case in point here, if you look at the sum of the numbers, if you look at the patterns of math, the mathematical patterns of the universe, you'll start to see some similarities and it's almost as if the universe is communicating with you through these numerical patterns. It's really interesting with torsion physics and the 3, 6, and 9. It's just amazing. But this will touch a little part of it here. So you see 440 on the right-hand side, all the different frequencies for all the different octaves of A. A1 is 55 hertz, 5 plus 5 is 10, A2, 110 hertz, 1 plus 1 is 2. So you equal these up, and this is a form of gematria to find numerical patterns. But then when you go into A432, everything equals 9. And that's all the way up as high as you go or as low as you go. It's all 9. It's amazing. So that shows that right there, I think is an interesting visual to for a case for 432 tuning. There's also another interesting thing is Mettaverse. I do a lot of 111 tuning, which where I play the 111 frequency alongside a song that I compose. Interesting about that is that lines up directly with A444 tuning, which is 528 tuning. 528 is another frequency that I'd like to get into later. That is pretty amazing too, along with 432. An interesting scientist to look into is Dr. Leonard Horowitz. He covers a lot of 528 and how 528 is the frequency of basically the love frequency, the life frequency, which is interesting because there's some numerical similarities between the light spectrum and how in the light spectrum, chlorophyll is 528. So it's just, yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. And but back to 432 and 9, the number 9, I'm just going to talk about the number 9 really quick. There's something significant about this number in and of itself, not just that they're all consistent, but the number 9 itself, which brings us into vortex mathematics, which is something that Tesla touched on, which is pretty amazing. In the Baha'i faith, they see 9 as the highest number of perfection. Hinduism sees it as Brahma, the creator. All sorts of faiths, traditions see the number 9 as the number of perfection, which just so happens to be related to 432. Next screen. So this on the left-hand side, I'm going to play this. Whoops. Oh, sorry. Here we go. There we go. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so on the right hand, this is an animated model of vortex mathematics. The numerical patterns are really kind of complicated and stuff, but basically what you're seeing, this is what Tesla formulated with vortex math, is it's basically a torus, a toroidal field. It matches, it mirrors a toroidal field, and the number 9 up here is the symbol of unity, which it gets a little complex, but it matches a lot of the toroidal field, and you see at the very center here, you see the very center of the torus. I'm putting together some connections that kind of resonate also with intuitively with the very center, the very heart, and the way reality and the way we manifest things forms around that center, the heart, the point of manifestation, the singularity point. So that is kind of, yeah, I went through that pretty fast. And if anybody, maybe I'll open it up to a couple questions so far, and then I can keep going. I'd also love to, if you guys are interested, I'd love to go into a little bit about my methodologies and how I compose. And
Brian, have you noticed a specific relationship with certain frequencies and parts of your body? Like if you listen to a certain frequency, you can feel it in your heart, or a certain frequency you feel in your throat. You know how that we set up throat chakra. We have some meditations like that. Have you, and personally, felt an experience of combining the frequency with the chakra? And what is your opinion on that? In opening chakras and expanding the energy field?
Yeah. I think it's frequency combined with intent, frequency and heart. I think heart is one of the things that I think we need to understand the most, because I know when I'm writing music, a lot of times I just kind of like, it just flows out, and whatever it turns out to be, all of a sudden I figure out that it's 174 hertz. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. But usually, there are specific frequencies that do specific things. Like Royal Rife, who was a researcher back, he discovered, along with some other scientists, there was an interesting TEDx talk about a scientist who discovered these resonant frequencies, where you can target specific kinds of cells, and you can basically get rid of them, cancer cells. He showed a live demonstration of targeting these cells with a specific range of frequencies, combined with something called the 11th harmonic, which destroyed that cancer cell, which is amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah, specific organs have specific frequencies, basically. Yeah, there's Royal Rife's research. He has a big list of frequencies that relate to specific organs.
Which you use on light quotient, which I did in our meditation
Yes.
yesterday. I
Yeah,
started that,
yeah.
and that's really effective frequency to reduce anxiety, right?
Yes, exactly.
And it's amazing. I can feel it as soon as I
Yeah.
hear it. Now, I want to just, before everybody asks questions, the binaural beats you have there as an example.
Yep.
You have 200 hertz in one ear, 205, and that's 5 hertz. A lot of
Yes.
people don't understand the way binaural is in difference to just regular frequency. That's
Right.
when you're wearing headphones and there is a differential in the frequency of each headphone.
Yeah.
So what do you think is more powerful, the binaural use of frequency differentiation or just the singular sound of frequency? What is your opinion on utilizing those two concepts, especially in meditation?
Yeah, I think it depends on the desired experience, the desired your intent. I think for sleeping, for me, binaural is where it's at. With I guess with different meditations, I think I do compose some music that's a little more a little less conventional, maybe no binaural beats, maybe just kind of more imaginative. But binaural beats for me is more of like a sleep trance state, kind of a deep meditative state. That's what I primarily use them for.
It creates a sort of pulsing in your brain that changes the way your brain is structured at that moment. It's a way of immediately changing the brainwave state, as you see in that graph there.
That's exactly it.
So as we have found in Dr. Joe's research, when people are in gamma, they seem to be in that high state. Have you been able to recreate the gamma from a binaural beat, or is that possible? My experience is gamma doesn't seem inducible through binaural, but more of just a meditative ecstatic state.
Yes, I've looked into both. I've been researching both gamma and beta to see how I could incorporate that into music. It doesn't seem like there's as much effect as the delta, theta, and alpha. But yeah, I'm still kind of looking into that because I'd like to, as far as making like tunes that are focus related, like tracks that help people focus on their work. I might want to go into more of an alpha or beta,
right?
Theta or binaural beat.
What is your feeling about utilizing? I see some people that say you can use certain frequencies and they're very specific. You see, I can use this to increase my eyesight, or I can do this to. Do you think that there's legitimate science behind that, or most of the stuff on YouTube is? What's your opinion on that stuff?
I want to be careful because I don't ever want to mislead my listeners. I don't ever want to mislead people. And if somebody finds something that's wrong, I'd love to know about it.
Right.
When
people say, "Oh, I measured the frequency with my special frequency measurer, and it's not 42, I found it to be 426. You're evil. You have an evil frequency." You've of course had that comment and heard that, right? What's your feeling about that?
I just love them.
Right.
They're I don't know what they're using to measure it with, but with a lot of songs, what I'll do if I focus on 111, I will tune it to A444. So it's already 111 is already an octave of that key.
Right.
And then so basically, I don't know, they might be measuring it. They're going to hear a bunch of different frequencies because it's mixed in with an actual composition. So
right. Is there an evil frequency that you've experienced? Frequency that, wow, that gives me a headache. I don't feel good. Is there specific frequencies you've experienced that had a negative effect?
There haven't been, but I have heard Dr. Leonard Horowitz was talking about something about the combination of two frequencies that can be very destructive. Also, as far as like cancer, getting rid of cancer cells or other, leukemia, whatever, I've seen these video demonstrations of them applying these frequencies to these cells, and they just like split apart. But what they have to do is find the frequency range of that cell, that resonant frequency. So each cell is set to a specific resonant frequency. And so you need to play that frequency, that same resonant frequency that mixes with theirs, and it just shatters them. But you have to apply something called the 11th harmonic in addition with that. So
there's this concept, you can play a frequency and like bring a bridge down. The sound of that frequency, if you play it the right way, it'll shake and completely collapse.
Yeah, there was a specific bridge that happened to. Yeah, there was.
Wow.
I forgot what the name of that bridge was, but yeah.
So we're dealing with something that's super powerful.
Very powerful, and for both positively and in a negative sense. Yeah.
Final question before we let it go. Before I let everybody, because I'm fascinated. Is there a way to expand my field that you're aware of using frequency? Can I expand my field?
I think yes. I think my thought behind frequency is I think it enhances our natural abilities. It enhances our natural potential. And so in combination with intent and practice and frequency, all these things combined make for kind of that perfect package, if you will. So
all right.
That's kind of my thought. It's like I've been doing a lot of research because I know that there are definitely specific frequencies that have very specific functions. But when I write my music, I kind of have these inclinations or these intuitive like heart. It's almost like channeling. It's almost like I'm channeling music through, because sometimes I don't really remember the process. It's just like channeling through. So it's kind of like something in and of itself. And I'm like, I better put a frequency to it.
Right.
So,
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. We got time for questions.
And I see Jessica with a hand up. So we'll go to Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much. My mind is just exploding all day.
Awesome.
Okay. So I'm clairvoyant, and just like last week, started being able to visualize frequency. So I'm seeing sound clairvoyantly. I have no idea why. I don't really care why. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Brian sees it too.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah, in colors and shapes and
Shape.
Okay. Yeah, shapes and patterns and textures. Yeah.
Textures. Yeah, the shapes that go. It's like a texture shape.
Yep.
With movement, like a live thing.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Cool.
I'm just so starstruck. So I'm like, it's hard to even like articulate myself right now, but
I'm just a dork.
How can we use our voices to connect with these frequencies so that we're not just receiving them, but emitting them, and being mindful of how we use our voices and how we affect our environment with our voice?
Yes, the voices, using our voices is so important. I've heard some amazing, powerful chanting in caves.
Yes.
Just that it's like intuitively, I almost see through that veil in that cave. You almost see the sparkles coming through.
Yeah.
It's like you feel it. It's like, oh my gosh, this is real.
But
it's the chanting, it's the vocalization of those frequencies, because it resonates through your whole body. And I think writing music for just audible listening, I think is great, but eventually where I want to go is like sound therapies, ways to apply it to your entire to your entire self.
Yes.
So
do you think, can I ask, do you think that, I just had a question. If we can practice heart coherence,
Mhm.
Do you think that would change? Like if we can speak, communicate, sing, vocalize at all,
Mhm.
when we're in heart coherence,
Mhm.
do you think that might change the frequency of the sound coming out of our body and maybe heal or affect positive change?
I think so. I think so because it's all about coherence. And that what coherence is when you have the example when you have two tuning forks that are set to the same pitch, and so you tap one of them, and then you hold the other one right next to it. The other one starts humming
Yeah.
without ever touching it. And so that's a resonant vibration, and also so that's the heart coherence. That's resonant vibration. That's
Right.
all we're all tuning ourselves to the same pitch, so we all resonate together. So we all are coherent together in one heart. So yes.
So if you are, and just to follow up, like just to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So if I, for example, am singing in my kitchen, that could effectively raise the vibration of my home, the space around me, if I'm connected and doing that. So as a space clearing, right? It's like a space clearing or just to raise the vibration. You can just do that.
Yeah, I think it's a space clearing, and it's also a heart and mind clearing.
Yeah.
Because it clears you inside also.
Yeah.
And because it does that, everything else falls into
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. That's
Yeah,
so awesome.
absolutely. Yeah, good. That's a great question. Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica. I see
Thank you.
Bianca with
Thanks,
a hand up.
Jessica.
Cool.
Hi. Hello,
Hello.
can you hello? Can
I
you see
can
me?
hear you. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah. Hey.
Hi, Brian.
How you
Hi,
doing, Bianca?
I love your music, Brian. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my question was a bit, I was curious because the soundtrack from this movie, Interstellar,
Mm, mhm.
and you heard it, right?
Yeah.
And the movie was about the fourth dimension and about love.
Mhm.
It was like at the end of the movie. I don't mean to be a spoiler, but it's about love, and I mean the mystery was kind of love in the fourth dimension. So I saw in this interview somewhere the songwriter Zimmer, was it? I'm not sure his name.
Yep. Hans Zimmer. Yeah.
Hans Zimmer, yeah. So he said something like, yeah, when I composed soundtrack, I had to tune into the frequencies of love while I was composing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's only like 3 or 4 chords that go in a loop with type of arrangement. So I was really curious about what does he mean by that, because I didn't quite get it. So maybe and
Yeah. I think the frequency of love is something felt first. It can be heard through music, through specific frequencies. But the frequency of love, I think, it's important to understand that we as humans, as infinite beings, resonate. We resonate those frequencies. Those come from inside of us. And other people, other media, other songs can come inside and help and inspire us, and those transform us in amazing ways. But what the ultimate purpose is to bring that resonant love vibration from within you, from within that singularity point, because that's like the point of the universe, the Stargate that can like open up into the whole universe.
Wow.
And so love to me is the singularity. It's the place from which all things are possible. And Interstellar, it's amazing you mentioned Interstellar, because that was one of the soundtracks I've used to listen to over and over. One of the songs.
Me too.
It was the last movie I saw with my dad before he passed away, and
Oh, I'm
And
so
so-
sorry.
And I posted something on one of the, and all of a sudden the post just took off. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing. But so that has a special meaning to me, that movie. Because it's
Wow.
almost like, I wonder if he's
Very
on the other
special.
side.
It's very special because of the relationship between the daughter and her dad.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the last movie I saw with my dad. It's one of those like, am I living in a movie? Yeah.
It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I guess it was like minor chords or maybe something
Mhm.
that I mean if you've obviously analyzed the soundtrack, it
Mhm.
goes in a loop.
Mhm.
It repeats and repeats with different types of arrangements, which
Mhm.
is what makes it seem that it has varieties.
Mhm. Yeah.
But basically, it's so simple. So simplicity is the key, right?
Yep. Simplicity is the key.
You're composing about love, like
Yeah.
love.
Yep. It's true. It's true. I've been finding that some of my simplest songs get the most views. And the ones that I spend all this time, orchestrating and figuring out composition, and I love doing that. But sometimes it's just all about simplicity.
We are so much in love with the music Brian plays in meditation.
Oh,
Brain inside us. We love it. So thank you for that.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So thanks, much appreciate.
Thanks, Bianca. It's good to see you.
Thanks to you. Bye.
Thank you, Bianca. I see Bethany with a hand up. Hey, Bethany.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Hey,
Yeah.
Bethany, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, Brian. How are you doing?
Good. I think I
Good.
just accepted your friend request, or did I request your friend? I don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did just
friends.
become friends on Instagram.
We did. Yeah.
thank you. I was like, oh, that's cool. He followed me back.
I know.
I just want to say thank you, first of all. I just recently started doing massage therapy and I use a lot of your music
Oh,
to
cool.
massage people, and people are like, what is this? So a lot of people really love it. So thank you for that.
So
And then secondly, I was just kind of wanting to ask you, I know you do a lot of your own like audio recordings and stuff for like your nature sounds, and obviously you play a lot of different instruments. But is there any like specific software that you use to help create your music?
yeah. I use Studio One.
Okay.
Which is kind of like Apple Logic. Basically any sort of digital audio workstation. But the one I use is Studio One. And yeah, if you send me a message if you want to know anything more details, and I'd love to walk you through it.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Sure.
didn't really have any like deep questions like everyone else, but
No
great
problem.
to
I mean,
talk to you. Great to see you.
that is a really good question. I love talking shop too.
Awesome.
So
Well, thanks, Brian.
yeah, nice to meet you, Bethany.
You too.
Thanks, Bethany. Margot, whenever you're ready.
Oh, hi, just unmuting. This has been the most magical reality con so far, and it's so much is crystallizing for me personally. And one of the things that I've become aware of is, our superconscious is in a way that we can connect in a way similar to the this social construct we're forming. And then when you talk about vibration, and I think about Edgar Casey, used to say, he was an incredible intuitive, and he used to say, sometimes he would just start speaking without knowing what he was going to say, as he tuned into the higher good and the intention of bringing forth relevant information. And there's just something he would say about the voice. The voice can almost wake up psychic abilities, and the voice is all about vibration and the throat chakra in a certain sense. And I'm really interested to learn more about that as a modality in a way. And I was just wondering if you had any comment about that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's a really good, because I was a singer. I in my rock band, I was the lead singer. So I'm like, why am I not using my voice more?
Yeah.
So my intentions are, and now that I'm hearing from you and other people about using the voice, I think it's very important because we become in a way that we can tangibly feel, we become that vibration because we're vocalizing that. We can tangibly feel it in our whole being. So our heart can feel it because it's right next to our throat chakra. So it all, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like quite a brave act in a way.
Yeah,
To get somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the traditions of chanting in many, obviously many different cultures, I think there's something to that about the repetition. It helps them enter a kind of a trance state or a different frame of mind that then creates this heart resonance, which actually is basically just just your heart resonance is a prayer. It's just the resonance in and of itself. The feeling is the prayer almost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I hope to learn a lot more about this and to
Yeah.
hear more of your voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna start singing a little more. I did it in the last one. I think it was okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank
You very much. That was
Yeah.
really interesting today. Yeah,
Thank you. So great to talk to you.
likewise.
Thank you, Margaret. Kathleen.
Hello, the Bryans.
Hey, Kathleen. Yeah.
Hi.
Square.
I don't know if you ever heard of the singing group Shanti Shanti. They're two beautiful girls. They're sisters,
Okay.
and they sing Sanskrit.
Wow.
One learned spontaneously as a child, makes you think it. She knew that from a past life and taught her sister.
Mhm.
So they're obviously older adults now.
Mhm.
In a book their mother wrote about their childhood, she said that when they were singing at home, training, because they go on the road and they're beautiful. Look them up, Shanti Shanti.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
They're from Nevada.
Okay.
And when they would sing at home, the vibrations of the frequency they're singing, plus it's Sanskrit.
Mm-hmm.
Their grass, their lawn was lush. It spilled over to the neighbors.
Wow.
They got the benefit of a beautiful environment with their lawn. I found that so fascinating. What would you say, along with singing or whatever frequency, with Sanskrit itself?
Yes.
What's your idea of that?
I've always that's been my secret dream is to learn some Sanskrit and to sing chanting, to do some chanting. But I always think, well, I don't know, man. I'm like some Minnesota guy from Norwegian Minnesota guy. But there is something extremely amazing and magical because language itself is an energy imprint too. And so, I think ancient Sanskrit, it does something. It does something. But I think what the biggest part is our intentions. That's the most powerful part. And everything else helps those intentions, helps us come into alignment, the music and the singing. But with that singing, it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier to go into that heart alignment. And then you're basically
what I found amazing was, besides sound, music, frequency can heal bodies. I mean, even in their environment. I mean, for their lawn, their grass to be so lush.
Yeah, that's amazing.
In a neighborhood. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So just think of how, if you could do that on a big scale, how amazing that would be.
Yeah. I think that frequency, it's a big subject, but I think frequency has been used in negative ways on the population.
Sure.
And so our job is to heal that. So yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really, I'm gonna
Yeah.
look them up. Yeah.
I actually had the pleasure of being in the presence of some Tibetan monks chant
wow.
several years ago. And
Yep.
on my drive home, I was vibrating.
Mhm.
It was just so totally amazing.
They've been known to levitate things basically with
Sure.
really long horns. They basically somehow form some sort of formation with those horns, and they levitate rocks. They levitate
Yeah.
things. It's crazy. Yeah. So,
Thank you. Thanks so
yeah,
much.
thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Brian.
Yeah.
The Bryans. Thank you both.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank
Dan.
you.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for sharing your gift of music with us. I so enjoy them in the other Brian's meditations.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, you guys just do a fantastic job together there. I wanted to ask about volume and also about like beats per minute. So
Sure.
now one thing when these sleep meditations are on or something, I notice that if it's too loud, I can't actually sleep.
Mhm.
So is there a minimum volume that it's effective?
Right. I don't, as far as binaural beats, there might be some studies in the lab that use a specific volume of those beats. But when it comes to, when I'm listening, I'll listen to meditation music at night, and I'll usually kind of adjust the volume based on sometimes different instruments make me want to turn it down a little bit more or a little bit more up. I think it all depends on like the way you're kind of reacting to it. And then, you turn the volume basically on what's comfortable, and it should have the same effect as far as like with the music that I've been composing. If it's a more controlled study, then it might, volume might be more of a thing to kind of look at.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And the other is like, for instance, I've gone to, I'm a professional photographer, and
Cool.
one of the things that I've covered is trance concerts and rock concerts. And one thing that I noticed is that when I'm at these trance concerts, it's pretty interesting. The music is, of course, it's very loud, but I've had some very, transcendental experiences, not with any drugs or anything like that, just the music itself.
Yeah.
While I've been working these events, and it's just pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why I mentioned volume.
Yeah.
But also in the case of the trance music is that sometimes is there a certain beats per minute that we should be looking to listen to? Because I'm not sure what it is, or, but like the music is such that after you are listening to it for 10 or 15 minutes, you really start to have these like really weird feelings, visualizations, and just like somebody was saying, textures, visions with textures, but
synesthesia, kind of synesthetic.
It's really weird and funky for me. I mean,
that's basically just modern day shaman techniques, the trance, the repetition, the beat. And the longer you go, the more you kind of you lose your concept of directly the real world in front of you, and you just kind of enter this different world. It's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So is it beats per minute that induces that, or is it the frequencies we're talking about?
I think I think it depends, for beats per minute. I think it's a general 120 is kind of your general rule of thumb. It's kind of your standard, unofficially agreed upon standard beats per minute. But when it comes to chanting and or trance music, I think different beats per minute can have different effects. Depends on the. I think it depends on the people there in the room and the people making the music, and I think there's so many factors. But yeah, those I mean that rhythm, that rhythmic
Right.
kind of thing. That
Is there a correlation between heartbeat and beats per minute when it comes to coherence?
That's an excellent question.
Heart and mind coherence and beats per minute with the music.
That is an excellent question. I do know with resonant frequency, in order to control the destructiveness, I think if I understand this right, in order to control the destructiveness of how frequencies can resonate, they pulse it. They don't, it doesn't go on a straight, doesn't play straight. They pulse it off and on, off and on. But those are very fast, very quick. But yeah, beats per minute in the heart. You know what? I'm gonna write that down because that's something I want to research a little bit more.
Yeah, Brian, your song 696, Love and Harmony, when it has a sort of a whoa, whoa, whoa. I've noticed that goes to my heartbeat when I listen to it. I mean, maybe that particular song.
That is cool. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm referring to? That you kind of had a little wobble in there. I don't know if it's
yes.
What was it? 696, Brian?
Yeah, it was 696. Increased Love and Harmony, right? One of your earlier songs, Brian?
Probably an earlier one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's basically all I had on that. I recently purchased or got on a wait list for an Opus sound bed, just to try one out. Just to see what it's like.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And
I'd love to hear how it goes.
I've also there are these vibrating platforms I ran across a few years ago, and one of my clients had me photograph this vibrating platform. You stand on it and it vibrates at different frequencies for different parts of your body, and it's used for what do you call it, rehabilitation. So when somebody gets a surgery or something like that, they stand on this thing and it vibrates at different frequencies for a period of about 15 minutes. And when you get off of it, you feel like like a day or two may go by, but you feel like you worked out.
Yes. Yeah. That, that sounds really familiar because there are researchers, scientists that are kind of theorizing, conceptualizing, in cancer wards. Basically, you just hang out in a very comfortable environment, and you're bathed in specific frequencies from the ceiling or from above, and you start to regenerate and you start to heal. And that's a possibility. So it's powerful. Yeah, it really is.
Thank you, Dan. I see Brad with his hand up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Brian.
Brad.
Really love your music. I think it's very emotional, invoking, and things like that. More of a technical question. I used to use Cubase, and I'm looking for a new setup with FL Studio and different VST instruments like Nexus, but it's more like, aren't most of those instruments tuned to 440? And then if so, is there an easy way to change them to be 432? And you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So this can be kind of a challenging problem to deal with. I know the Contact, not the Contact player, but the Contact official software has an option where you can tune down to 432. But usually what I'll have to do is record the song and then tune everything down after it's exported.
How do you record the song at a normal or 440 or whatever, and then how do you adjust the whole song down? Is there an easy way to do that? Is there software for that?
Yeah. So there's some math. There's some calculations you can do, and I could send you those. So if you go, so 0.32 cents tunes you down to 432. So yeah, there's different calculations you can do that'll tune you down. And I'm trying to get those as close as possible. So yeah.
Well, maybe I'll message you or something like that on Facebook, or you can tell me a little bit more. But I was really curious on how you would even do that at all with any of these instruments that are probably not geared to that. And
Exactly.
but I didn't know about the contact one, but that's interesting as well. Most of the contact instruments can do that.
Yeah, the contact instruments can do that. Yeah. So I just got Omnisphere, which I'm just, oh my gosh, I don't know what I've done without Omnisphere all these years, but I don't think that offers that option. So it is kind of a roundabout, because I'd rather experience the whole thing in 432, but it's kind of a tricky thing at this point. So
Yeah, okay. I was just kind of curious on how you did that, if there were any software companies that are maybe exploring that in the future that you know of. Since
maybe I will.
There you go. There you go. Okay, great. Well, I appreciate the information, and maybe I'll message you a little more on the specifics.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to help you. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. Yeah.
Brian, we had one quick question
Sure.
in chat. I wanted you
Yes.
to, your knowledge of Schumann resonance
Mhm.
and how we can tune into that through music. And do you know do you know anything about that?
Yeah. The Schumann resonance, it sticks around 7.63, I believe. And there's been studies where, people would be deprived of the Schumann resonance, and they would start to just kind of go crazy. And also the Schumann resonance spikes at times. Sometimes people equate that to the collective subconscious, and I think there's definitely a lot to be said about that. So 7.63 is the average. And the way I do it is because if you play 7.63 hertz, that's not audible. So I'll create a binaural frequency of 7.63, which then so I'll in the note of 763, I'll do several octaves higher, so it becomes audible, and then I'll combine those.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So
Very cool.
yeah, so with the Schumann resonance, there's a lot of talk about, I notice a lot of people monitor the way the Schumann resonance spikes with world events, with the collective subconscious, because I know, when you look at the Maharishi effect and random number generators and how the collective human subconscious affects those, it's a real thing. Yeah. So
Probably got time for one more question.
Yeah, Betty with their hand up.
Betty.
We'll go to. Oh,
Hi, sorry.
it's okay.
But I'm so sorry. It's bad. So I wasn't thinking Betty, but
Sorry about
I want
that.
to thank all y'all. No, you're fine. Thank you all the Brians and thank you guys. And I just was trying to ask Brian Larson. All right, you guys might be the only people I can ever say this to. I was at a show where there was a band playing, and I had to go to the restroom, and I didn't want to leave because they were amazing, and they were like just this percussive band, and they were chanting, and it was good that I left because I don't know if this would have happened, but all of a sudden, and I was not on anything, no drugs, no nothing. I was younger. Just everything turned like you could see little sparkles. And I know that the music somehow, it was like creation energy. It's how I would describe it. It's one of the Brian Larson, if you've ever felt that.
Yes. Yeah.
Knowing that exists is what makes me interested in music, because I want to do that or find that, or like, whoa.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's very and then it was gone and nobody else felt it. And I was like, nobody else. I don't know. I think I just like, what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah. It's amazing the power that music has. It really is. It is the logos, the divine logos, the frequency, it creates everything. It's what we are. It's who we are. And yeah, it's amazing. Thanks.
So thank you, Brian. I just want to thank you so much for the music that you play and knowledge that you bring, and contributing to the Reality Con. I appreciate it. We're gonna, hopefully you can join us later and karaoke with us at 4. Hopefully, I know you got your kids and stuff and you're busy, but I hope
They'll
you
come
can
in here
jump
and
on.
dance with me.
All right.
If that's okay. You might see them in here if I grab.
Oh,
my
that bring
guitar.
them in, and I might even post the link on the Facebook group. We might have even more people this time, but
Yeah, it might get a little wild.
so I just want to thank everybody. We have an hour and a half lunch. We're going to come back and I'm going to teach some energy techniques, and then we're going to do some channeling, and then we're going to have a meditation. So enjoy your lunch, and love you guys. We'll see you soon. All right.